My name is Yuri Kolot, and I'm the master's first year in the School for AI and Big Data in Far East Federal University, and I will talk to you about AI for advertising. To start, a couple of words about the history of the project and how we got into this, and how we got this idea. Before we started to actually do this, we had that idea, but it was quite a long time ago and mostly just for fun. Now we have a lot of requests for such research, and we have Spur as one of our customers. One of the reasons for our work was the necessity to pay royalty for the music and the need to create neural music or music generated by the neural net. The applications are quite rare but very interesting, and it can be used pretty much everywhere for ads, for other things. And thus we came to the value proposition, so that the generated music should be super free to use in public places. And even though we cannot generate great music all the time with neural nets, we can cherry pick the best ones. And the second important stage is the interactivity of the system we develop. It should have an interface with which the person can interact with it, like switch the tracks using gestures or voice commands. And last but not least, the royalty-free policy, so that we could allow the music to be used everywhere without any worries about getting strikes for the IP violations. So this is called generative AI or generative art, and here is the quote from MIT Technology Review saying it's one of the most promising advances in AI in the recent years. To continue the conversation, we need some introduction into machine learning. We need to understand that this is an area of AI that can be broken into three subjects. First of them is supervised learning, which includes the models with a labeled dataset. And a good example of such a task could be computer vision tasks. Another task can be an unsupervised learning, when you have a model that does not need the labeled data. And generative AI belongs to this area. Third is the reinforced learning, where the model is trained based on the sequence of actions in some specific environment. A couple of words about the idea and solutions that we had during the work on this project. One of the ways to completely change the perception of the music is just to change the instrument. By default, all the music is generated using the piano, but we can swap it for any instrument we like. Also, we had a theory that the length reduction of the music can help us increase the quality. But this did not confirm, and I think we need to recheck it. Mixing the compositions of the different genres has actually helped us. Like we mixed great classics with Hans Zimmer and got some interesting samples. And the most obvious, but not simple in terms of the implementation, is modifying or changing the architecture of the current AI models. So the first option that was used before even I joined was a variative autoencoder. This architecture has two parts. And it does roughly the following. So the data is compressed and then decoded via the decoder. This enables us to get some new properties. Autoencoders have some negative traits, like it's a simple architecture, but this does not stop the playback. With variational autoencoder, we don't have that issue, and we can get a continuous space and continuous music. This architecture is quite simple. It can generate multi-track music, but there's a number of issues, like mode collapse, when with different variables of the latent space, the decoder would give the same result. And you can have a harmonic music, but with a very chaotic one. Another advantage is a simple architecture. It differs in the sense that the model tries to predict the new node based on the previous nodes, and the result of this model's work is a set of pairs with probabilities. And this is how the track is created. As a training set, we use the classic tracks, and this architecture is quite simple, so it enables us to generate very nice examples and very nice tracks, especially after the cherry picker. And you can also choose the number of notes you would like to generate, and thus create a hyperparameter that affects both the time and the quality of generation. But a negative negative part here is that it's quite demanding in terms of hardware and takes a long time to train. We also tried to create again based on this architecture, but we failed here, and now we need some more time for development. As I said before, during our work we wanted to make some new stuff, so differentiate, just, Thanks, sorry for the interruption. So the last architecture we're gonna look at is Amazon Deep Composer again. It's a generative adversarial network, and it differs in the sense that it has two neural nets, a generator and a discriminator. So the generator tries to compose something that looks like this composer and classifies them, but the discriminator tries to classify whether this result is part of the looks like training set or not. But the music can, if we train fast, then we will get an unpleasant musical compositions. But if we train slow and spend some time setting the parameters, then what you get as a result will be most probably indistinguishable from what an ordinary person might compose. To sum it up, I would say that we have a test implementation in one of our partners' office. As part of the trials, we have decided to take the lifts of our office and elevators and ensure we have sound there. And gradually, we are moving to creating our own model using the current research. It's a young project, it's just 2 months old, but we're getting faster and faster in terms of what we can do here. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Thanks indeed, Yuri. It's an interesting topic, and my first question is quite simple. You talked to us about AI helping create the music, but Yuri, what is the kind of music you like? Well, to tell you the truth, I don't have any fixed genre that I would name as the main and most favorite one. I like pop music, rap, rock, hip-hop. I cannot say that there's a genre I prefer and I'm really interested in.